to the entertaining Talkin' Sports.
What is going on, football fans? Back at it with another video, and I'm going to jump into some more broad topics. Obviously, this is kind of a slow time for the NFL. Anything relevant with the New York Giants, I will definitely report it and have a video up. There's nothing that crazy, but I'll probably have another video up today talking about the Giants. But I kind of wanted to spend this time to start to do some more broad topics. You know, things that I question all the time, that I ask myself. And this is a question that I get all the time. And if you guys have a topic, a fact or fiction topic, well, that's kind of what this series is going to be about, that you guys would like to see me dive into, please put in the comments below. And I've thought of a number of them, and I've written down a ton. Does the college that you go to matter when it comes to an NFL quarterback? Does height matter with a quarterback? I have a number of topics that I plan on trying to answer while I do this series. But I thought the first one that I would do that I thought was most appropriate is what's more important to a modern-day NFL team? Offense or defense? Of course, we all know the old phrase, defense wins championships. And as New York Giants fans, if you're a Giant fan watching this video, we're fans that traditionally like to build around a defense. And I completely understand it. And one side helps the other. Let's get that out of the way. Obviously, you want to be the best at both if you can. You want to be the number one ranked offense and the number one ranked defense. And a great offense will help a defense, like I said. And a great defense should help an offense. Sets you up for, better field position, creates more turnovers, so on and so forth. So one is going to help the other. But the question that I have in this video is, what is more important? And what I did was I went back over the last 10 years, from 2010 to 2019, and compiled data for teams that went to the playoffs, won the Super Bowl, and I kind of tried to figure out what was more important. Where did they rank in terms of offense and defense? What teams were much better at one and much worse at the other, and were they still successful? So that's what I tried to do throughout this video. Now, is this, conclusive evidence? No. I mean, there's still different ways that you can analyze an offense. There's different types of offenses. And certain offenses are going to help their defenses more than others. An offense like the Kansas City Chiefs, for example, which I noticed were pretty low in terms of defense throughout all the years, they're not going to help their defense much because they're airing out the football. They're not chewing up clock. They're putting up a ton of points. An offense like the Giants had back in the day, where they run the football, or the Titans last year, would certainly benefit the defense more so. So there's different ways to move the football and different ways that your offense or defense would rank higher or lower. But some of the things that I found I thought were very interesting. I wanted to dive into those numbers for you guys, and I think you guys will enjoy it, and it's definitely eye-opening. When you see it. I did not personally expect to see the numbers that I found. But let's dive right into it over the last 10 years, from 2010 to 2019. Now, 10 years, 12 teams make the playoffs. So, this is 120 teams worth of data over a decade's worth of football games. So, let's pull up the first number that I wanted to show you guys, and that is team offense, where the teams ranked. Out of 120 teams, 88 teams were league average or better for 73%. So 27% of the teams that made the playoffs were ranked 17th or worse. There's 32 teams, 16 or better. 88 teams ranked 16th or better in terms of offense. In terms of defense, it was a little bit lower. 73 teams were league average or better, or 60.8%. That's a pretty big disparity. You're talking 12%. 15 teams over a 10-year sample size, that's 1.5 teams were more reliant on the offense than the defense, or at least that's what the statistics would show. Next thing we're going to pull up. 61 teams out of the 120 were ranked in the top 10 total offenses for approximately 50%, a little bit over 50%, but right around 50% if you round down. In terms of the defense, 53 teams were in the top 10. So far, yeah, there's a slight edge for the offense, but these numbers aren't really eye-popping, right? It doesn't really prove much. You're talking about a difference of 8 teams over a 10-year sample size. That's not that much. But wait until the end, and some of the later stats, I think, will definitely open up your eyes. And then I'll give my final reasoning as to why I think it may be. Next number. 18 offenses ranked in the bottom 10. So first I looked at teams that were in the top 10 or league average or better. Then I said to myself, how many teams were able to make the playoffs that ranked near the bottom of the league in each one of these categories? Well, 18 out of 120, or only 15% of teams, were 23rd or worse in terms of total offense that made the playoffs. What about the defense? Well, the defense was nearly double. Double of 18 would be 36. It was 32 total defenses, or roughly 27%. So more than 1 out of every 4 teams that made the playoffs had a defense ranked 23 or worse. That's pretty surprising to me. Now, what could be some of the contributing factors? Well, to me, the biggest contributing factor probably is, like I said, a team like the Chiefs or the Patriots, a team that doesn't traditionally run the ball a lot, that doesn't chew up a lot of clock. The other team's going to be playing catch-up, and they're going to be putting up a lot of yards. So that certainly plays into it a bit. There are definitely outliers, though. A team like the New York Giants, when we won the Super Bowl in 2012, I think we all remember we didn't have a very good defense that year, at least in the regular season. A lot of it due to injuries. Next thing we're going to pull up. Super Bowl teams ranked 7.75 in terms of average ranked offense. So right around 8th best in the league, teams that made the Super Bowl. This is not one. Out of the 20 teams that made the Super Bowl, their average in terms of overall offense was 7.75. In terms of the defense, and this is a significant number when you're talking about this highly ranked, was 10.4 in terms of the average ranked defense, so just outside of the top 10. So again, the defense loses to the offense, and you're going to notice this is a common theme. The next number I wanted to pull up for you guys, Super Bowl winning teams. So now we're just looking at the 10 winners, had an average rank of 9.9, just below 10. The Super Bowl winning teams had a defense ranked of 11.3. So, again, a little bit of a disparity, nothing crazy significant. Next thing, 11.85, the average ranked offense was to make the playoffs. So out of the 120 teams, the average number was right around 12. 11.85, we round up, it's about 12, was the average ranked offense that made the playoffs over this 10-year sample size. The defense, slightly higher. 13.85 averaged ranked was the rank to make the playoffs. This last statistic was really eye-popping. Now, if you look over this chart, the 88 teams to the 73 teams is pretty significant. The 18 in the bottom 10 to the 32 in the bottom 10 is pretty significant. In terms of the Super Bowl overall teams, I thought that was a pretty significant difference. This last number, to me, is when I saw it, was the number that really drove home and said to myself, well, maybe in the modern day NFL, the offense is a little bit more important. Out of the 20 teams that made the Super Bowl over this 10-year sample size, only one was ranked below average, and they were barely ranked below average. Again, when I say below average, that means ranked 17th or worse. The Seattle Seahawks, I think it was the year they won the Super Bowl against the Denver Broncos, had the 18th ranked overall offense, so barely below league average. In terms of the defenses, nearly half of the teams that have made the Super Bowl over the last 10 years have ranked 17th or worse, and several of them have ranked 23rd or worse. The Patriots versus the Giants in 2012 coupled the 31st ranked defense of the Patriots versus the 27th ranked defense of the Giants. The Patriots appeared on that list several times, along with a number of other teams. So I thought that was a huge number when I really saw that. 45% of teams that have made the Super Bowl have had a below-average ranked defense in the regular season. The other thing I'm going to speak on when it comes to defense, and you can't measure it by statistics, but when you look historically over the NFL and think about the teams, at least in the modern day NFL, with the salary cap era, and the defense is definitely, in my opinion, the part of the team that is more reliant on an overall unit. If you have a strong offensive line and a good quarterback, he can make something out of your wide receivers. The defense, we saw it as Giants fans. Once we started to lose pieces, Landon Collins looked a lot worse. I think it's much harder to sustain a top-tier defense in the NFL as opposed to a top-tier offense. But it's also very hard to find an elite quarterback. They don't grow on trees. But you look at the Chicago Bears. They were a team that was primed to possibly go to the Super Bowl just 2 years ago. Now people have them ranked in the bottom 3 or 4 teams in the entire NFL. It is hard to sustain a top-tier defense year in and year out. Some teams are able to accomplish it, but most are not, due to the fact that you lose a lot of pieces to free agency. The offense, if you have the quarterback, if you have the offensive line, if you have the offensive mastermind as an offensive coordinator or head coach, you could really mix and match with wide receivers and running backs. So I think offense, as much as I may hate to say it as a New York Giant fan, is the more important factor when it comes to a football team, but I will continue to write home that both are very important. And I still think you need a strong defense to be able to win a Super Bowl, but the offense is probably slightly more important due to the fact that, well, in this league, teams put up points, and the best defense to a great offense is a strong run game. I will continue to say that. I don't see anybody beating Pat Mahomes in a shootout. That is not how you will combat that team. You have to be able to run the football. And maybe I'll do another video breaking down the different types of offenses and what proves to be more effective. A run-heavy approach versus a pass-heavy approach. But I just thought this was a really interesting topic. I wanted to get it up, talk about it, and I wanted to get your guys' thoughts on the matter. Also, like I said at the top of the video, if you guys have any ideas for videos that you would like to see me do in this type of format, please shout them out. Trust me, I've got plenty of topics that I plan on working on. As always, guys, if you liked what you watched, please subscribe. Drop a comment. Maybe give me a little thumbs up. Cheers.